decade or so of agtech investing, the sector has generated a lot of excitement, but the returns haven't always matched the hype. And that is forcing agtech investors and founders to have a bit of a rethink, says Matt Crisp.
If we're talking about the cycle today, I think that we're certainly bottomed out or are skimming along the bottom here, if it were. And a lot of that capital has exited the space, so it's forcing a range of new approaches and new operating models within companies now. Today, we're fighting against capital being deployed into a category where there haven't been a lot of exits at all. I mean, to state the obvious, investors are only able to deploy capital to the extent that they've got comparables that demonstrate they can indeed return that money to their own investors. And so we're in a challenged moment where I think we need to get small in order to get big again. We need to be very, very focused. We need to put some wins on the board. And I know that that's a little bit antithetical to what a venture capitalist might want or see, where they're swinging for the fences and they need a grand slam or a couple big home runs and they win. This might be a market where we really need to retrench and be tactical, targeted, thoughtful about getting some singles and doubles and having some wins. It might not be 10x or 50x wins, but having some solid returns of capital to demonstrate again to outside money that indeed this is an industry a category that can make returns that are attractive.
When it comes to different sources of capital, you've talked about this ongoing imperative for cross-asset class investing to scale innovation. Can you kind of elaborate on that? Are you seeing new sources of capital or new financing models?
Yeah, for a long, long time, I think that the capital has missed a little bit of the target in ag because it does very much require a different line of thinking. It's not just high-cost growth venture-like money that needs to be thrown into successful solutions in this category. Oftentimes, there's a capital intensity or infrastructure requirement, and these kinds of things must have cross-asset class investing. Is that ecosystem developed in our space? No. Is it developed more today than it was 3 or 5 years ago? I think absolutely. I think that if there's one area where we've seen more and more intelligent capital deployment, and we're going to probably see it in the next 2 or 3 years as well, are around growth-based solutions that have positive unit economics and therefore can be underwritten for a 2 or 5x investment and not a 10 or 20x investment. And those dollars, are larger. They're allowing companies that have validated, proven solutions to scale in ways that we hoped some of the more high risk, high return, innovative ecosystem folks might have done, 5 years ago.
What about like new sources of capital from other areas though, like tech, insurance, or energy? Do we need to bring in money from other sectors?
Yeah, I think it's a provocative idea, but the same way that technology companies are needing to become energy companies, I have to wonder that the biggest tail that wags the dog, so to say, of our agri-food tech value chain, it's human healthcare. And so who would stand to benefit by a systems-based change? In my mind, a logical stakeholder group would be insurance companies. And so these are organizations that are enormous in size and scale, and they have the power, if they really wanted to come in and possibly influence some pretty systems-wide change. Will that happen? It's a hypothesis, maybe. But if we're really serious, I think as a society about food as health, about addressing a really massive chronic disease challenge, especially in the United States, then we need to start with food. And that's going to require an amount of investment that no venture capitalist is going to be able to provide, frankly.
You mentioned insurance, but what about other areas like tech?
It's been a long time since we talked about Amazon's acquisition of Whole Foods, but I think that's a really interesting case study example of where an organization has the size, the scale, the technology backbone to help us begin to rethink how nutrition might be deployed to consumers. And is there a larger thesis there? Possibly.
What about AI? So, we're seeing, is all the money that's being pumped into AI at the moment diverting capital from agri-food tech and possibly everything else? And maybe if the money the AI money that is going into agri-food tech is going into more, AI-focused startups. Is that a better fit for a VC model?
I think that in ag, AI is very under-realized, to state the obvious. But I do think that it, among some other enabling technologies, are going to bring online innovation in subcategories of ag or categories of ag that we've historically had a lot of strikeouts in. And I think, for instance, crop inputs. So I'm involved in a company, Quercus Biosolutions, I'm here representing, that I founded along with my colleague John Leitner. It's an extraordinarily innovative company focused on AI-based mini protein design in crop protection. And I think it is utilizing a tech that is extremely powerful to overcome some of the very fundamental issues that this space has faced over the course of the last 10, 15 years.
And this was tech that was originally kind of developed, in your case, for drug discovery that you're now applying.
Exactly. And I mean, that's what we've done is we've said, if we go where the money is, and we think, well, nobody's going to give an ag tech company, $10 or $50 million to develop a de novo AI discovery design engine, right? Again, the juice isn't worth the squeeze when you think about, what the exit profiles might be. But who would underwrite that kind of investment? Somebody in human healthcare. And so what we've done at Quercus is we've gone and partnered with an organization, Ordeos, which has directed their platform to human medicine, and then we've looked at how exactly we can apply that into our category. And I think it's going to redefine how we believe biological innovation can be conducted and overcome a lot of these challenges we've faced.
Because again, if you can speed up the process of biological development, but also hopefully come up with something that is more efficacious as well, I guess that hopefully will make the sector more attractive to investors more generally anyway.
Exactly, and what it's really doing is very, very important, is it's rethinking how we've developed these products historically. We're essentially collapsing the design and discovery and development into one construct. And that's not possible using any human-driven sequential product development construct that we've used since, nearly ever in developing any chemistry or any biological for crop protection. And so, again, AI is enabling this rethink, if you might, of exactly how we do product development. I think it's really exciting. I think it actually makes this space more investable now, with higher return expectations on a lower amount of capital input. And again, it's all tech enabled, but it's something that I think the investment community will need to sort of put behind us, some of the failures or the misfires, and really look at this category as an opportunity and not a liability area.
Can you highlight some other areas of ag tech that you think are exciting at the moment?
Yeah, well, you're right. AI is going to be near the top of my list. I think technologies in channel digitization are interesting. They play towards this idea of a more bespoke model. Maybe if we do see an evolution beyond the commodity system. So I think channel digitization, I think fintech can fall within that. There's a lot of inefficiencies in how farmers lend money, about how money moves across some parts of the ag value chain. Another area I'm excited about and watching is the robotics and automation. I think, especially in the United States, we've got a litany of issues in respect of labor, and anything that's going to help stabilize, that environment for producers, I think that's going to be very valuable tech in the next few years.